Welcome back to episode 2 of the Prospectors podcast. Today, me and CoreBri go over what we think would make the game significantly better in the looting aspect in general. And if you want to see these happen live, I do stream them on Twitch, so make sure you follow me over there because I do stream every day. And without further ado, let's hop right into it. I'm with CoreBri today. We have some very good points to get across because we want the game to succeed, all right? So we're going to say from our experience what we think the game needs in order to kind of pop off, you know, because this game can really pop off, and we need it to pop off like yesterday, so that'll be nice, you know? Fuck. We have a lot of points we want to talk about, though. CoreBri has a lot of points as well, so we're going to have a good talk. Nice talk today.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. So we can just start off with, the first one. We have some points written down here, but we can speak around a lot of points here because we have a lot of stuff we want to say. So we'll just talk about, one thing at a time. I'll pull up your Google Docs on my other screen, the long one, just so I have something, because that was very well written. All right, do you want to read off that too, or no?
We'll reference it probably occasionally because some of those ideas go with all of these.
Yeah, makes sense. Alrighty, word. All right, we'll talk about the loot value in the game. If Bree wants to start us off with whatever he thinks about the loot value in the game.
Loot really has no value. I mean, apart from quests and I guess hideout, quarters we call it in this game. There's really no value in loot. Like, when's the last time you're like, dang, I really need some fertilizer? Like, exactly. The loot value goes from as far as sell value to what do you need today? What do you need tomorrow? What do you need the next day? There's no value for anything. You load into a raid, you're like, I'm gonna do a PvP, I'm gonna get some gear, I'm gonna reset, and that's literally your entire day. Nothing else matters. It even goes down to lithium. When does lithium matter? Maybe when you forge, but if lithium only matters because you're forging, there's really no point, to be honest, because you just take kits.
Yeah, that makes it just not fun. It's a looter shooter, and yet we don't loot,
Exactly. We're go to the same areas we fight. Currently, the fights are happening water facility and gate D areas, right? And then occasionally we get the ECP fights, and that's because of spawns.
Yep.
Reason why we fight at water facilities because both spawns at water facility and then the spawn at science. So we fight there because it's a high volume spawn area, and then we fight ECP because woodcutter and ECP spawn.
Yep. Yeah, the spawns are also screwed, so that leads to more of the fights. Yeah.
Yep, but it's just more of camping the fights, extracting the loot, and that's your loot. That's your loot value in game is literally other people's kits, and it makes sense that you should want that, but why do you want that?
I think a lot of it is due to money as well, because we're not looting. Because why would I go out of my way to do a jungle run or go to Theris or do any type of loot run when I literally just die? I'll just die. I need 200k. Okay, I'll just die.
No, 200k, easy death.
Easy death.
Guess what? I'm rich again. 5 deaths, you're at a mill.
Yep.
It's
I think we're all the richest we've ever been this season, just because of the amount of loot that's out there. Yeah, at least from my experience.
Obviously we have a key point here: insurance that needs to be touched because that's that's a big no-no. But it's more than one aspect of insurance that's kind of busted, to be honest.
Well, yeah, the two types of insurances. I think insurance should be completely redone. You do too.
Oh yeah, 100%. The biggest thing is we're kind of jumping over the points already, but it all bounces together though. Every one of these things, key cards, flows with loot value. Everything stash base goes to loot value. It pretty much all these key points, they should all circulate. Everything should circulate in the game, but nothing really is. Insurance, let's say you guys are in a team fight, you kill one person, your teammate kills one person, and then the other guy, and then you both die to the last guy, but then your teammate kills him. Now your team has to prioritize your loot over their loot.
Yeah.
And you get no gains from it. Your teammate got no gains. You're the team that won, and you have to get your boy's stuff because insurance is now voided. He picked it up. If you don't bring it out, it's gone. Yeah. You get nothing back. Insurance shouldn't be voided off pickup. at all. You should be able to hide your teammates stuff 1000%.
I agree with that. I just literally had a raid where we were at not water facility. We're at ECP, right? There's like like 4 teams died. There was loot absolutely everywhere. I had a pretty good bag. It was like 40% of like gear and weapons, and I literally got like 1 kit for myself because I had their shield, their helmet, their Bassie. I stripped their brutes, and I had the other guy's shield, helmet, Bassie, and I stripped all the attachments. I have like 100 pounds to work with. I get 1 thing for myself, and I just have nothing else because I can't hide their loot. I have to take it because I picked it up. It's screwed, exactly like you said.
Yep. And imagine if you were able to just, throw your stuff, teammate stuff in a bush or somewhere on the map, it's still possible to find it. Somebody could still stumble across it, but you're able to like kind of better secure it the way your team, you can get your own like gear out of it. Like you won the fight. Like you should be rewarded to an extent, like not have to just, haul your teammate stuff to possibly die and then nobody gets anything. So like that victory is just, it's shallow now. Nothing mattered.
Yeah.
I'm big anti to this insurance system. Is, no offense, but the worst thing I've ever seen in like this game. Like it's by far the there's no thought process behind it. It's insure. Hopefully you all 3 die, you get a payout. If you don't, then it's just like a waste of time. That sucks.
Yeah. Like on Ray just said, like if you evac with your loot, like if you evac with your teammates' loot, sure, then it's voided because you evac with it. But you should be able to hide it because in Tarky, you can hide the loot and then you can get loot for yourself. You can bring stuff for yourself, but now you can't. You're stuck in this constant pit of bringing back your teammates' loot. You drop them their stuff. Then if they die, they get 300k marks back because of the white bag they insured. Like they get nothing, and it's just a lose-lose situation for everyone.
Agreed. I cannot stand it. And like that's another part with the loot value in game. Like there really is no value because like if that happens, you get no value from that match. Loot just feels off. Insurance is a part of the loot value in terms of like, well, when we say the loot value, it's like your loot value per match, right? Like, what did you get in that match that you bring out that has value? And that alone also brings zero value, along with the no offense, the entire rest of the game. Like,
no, yeah, I agree.
Like, where do we go with that? Like, let's say key cards, for example. Like key cards, like when's the last time you were ever like, man, I got this key card, holy crap. You know what I mean? Like key cards are a waste of stash space.
Yeah, there's no point in looting them because what am I gonna get? I'm gonna get a manticore out of a purple one because there's no good. You get like no good guns. Sure, you get like a brute or something eventually, but there should be other stuff to loot. Like I want to loot stuff that I can sell for like. I found something like 50k. That's worth 75k. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna evac with it. I'm gonna make a decent amount of money, but there's literally like stuff just has exactly like you said, it has no value. Like I loot a meteor core, it's 25 pounds and it's worth 7k. Like just nothing that makes sense.
Yeah, it seems like a bunch of ideas that were jumbled together and it just didn't play out. Like the biggest thing, and I want to be Tarkov to play because I know this game is not trying to be a Tarkov replica to an extent. But what Tarkov does correct is that everything cycles together, right? And this game is literally called the cycle, right?
Yeah.
Everything cycles together. You go into a raid, pretty much anything you find that raid has some kind of use, either in a quest and in your hideout, not in a hideout for upgrading, so to say, but in a hideout for maybe farming moonshine or making this or crafting that or anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, but in this game we have a K mark generator, which is cool, but there could be so much more. Like that's not helping you with rep. Like imagine like you had fertilizer, you're able to make something, and then like you're able to craft something up that you could get a stack of in your stash to sell to a vendor because you were out there farming these things, right?
Yeah.
And then you waited a certain amount of time, you're able to grab it all, and then you sold it to a vendor of your choice, and you're able to upgrade that vendor a little bit more, something that's a little bit more rep based. And then like guess what? Now you're getting closer to Arby's for the people that struggle getting to Arby's in the season, because that does happen. Like I can't speak for everyone because obviously we hit Arby's in like week 2 and some people are like rank 12 still. Like they don't have exos, they don't have anything. And like that's because they're either a solo player, they can't call drills and they can't farm 20 drills in one night like we can. Like, and like I'm not, raining on their parade. That's just realistic. Like they don't get Arby's in a season. Like they've never, some people have played since beta and have not had an RB in their hands.
That's facts. That is facts.
And like it's because like the cycle of the game just is go in, get lithium because that's the best thing to sell, and then sell it, and then rinse repeat 40 times. Actually, it's like I think it's more. I think if you go from like rank 1 to like 20, it's like what is it, like 111 drills or something like that. It's something crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just so weird because there's one part of the community that's like this game is it's too hard, it's too much leaning towards the people that play all day. Then there's us that are like the game's not hard enough. But I feel like a lot of our problems with like grinding and stuff could be fixed by making just some things a little bit harder and making more ways to make it easier. And I know that makes no sense, but like imagine if faction was up to level 30. Like sure, right now it would be pretty hard to get it to level 30 because there's really not many ways to get faction rep because you just sell stuff for faction rep. But if there's different outlooks to get faction rep, like this could be in like the thing you said, like you make some type of farm or something, or you farm something for like Osiris or something, and you sell it for good faction points because you want to get to level 30. And this could all kind of rotate and correlate to one another. But there's literally only like I literally only sell for faction rep. Like you only sell stuff for faction rep. I can literally buy brutes and just sell them because I have so much money. I can just sell them for faction points.
Exactly. And like here's the biggest thing is like I said earlier, fertilizer is useless. When's the last time you ever need fertilizer?
Yeah.
This whole idea goes down to like, well, hey, my farm thing that I have going, my plants that I'm using to like make this thing needs fertilizer. Let me go grab fertilizer, and then this fertilizer lasts me the next like 1 or 2 days of farming this, and then like I don't need fertilizer anymore. But you're going to get something that you don't need anymore. Right, so it's making this the actual looting scenario where you need to go loot things. Like it doesn't exist in this game, and it's not just down to fertilizer; it's down to everything in the game. Oil, we get oil to sell, which I get it; it's an in-game item.
Yeah,
to an extent, it probably should be sold, but oil can have more uses. Somebody earlier in chat said use it to power the forge. I've suggested this many times. I've said oil to power the forge when there's no storm. You get like a good like 2 sets out of it, not 2 sets, but 2 pieces out of it, and like that's good. That's something that the game needs. Like it needs every item, and not every item. I'd say like 80% of the items need an avenue of something to do in the game, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, some of them are supposed to be clutter and useless. Like that's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But that also gets down to the point of like stash space. Like eventually, if we make things useful, we don't have stash space because we're hoarding things now. We're hoarding fertilizer because we know we need them later on. We already have hordes of weapons that are taking up almost all of our slots at this point.
Yep.
Like, dude, the loot, it all goes back to loot value.
No,
everything is at loot value. It's crazy to me that like, no matter what we do, right now when we log into a raid, our main idea is to go look for gunshots. That's it. That's not for everybody. The reason why the player base is dwindling down is that everybody that plays this game, not everybody wants to PvP. Everybody plays Tarkov, right? This has a huge player base. Do you think all like 100,000 plus people, all PvP, they load in because like I'm gonna go find fights today?
Yeah, no.
It doesn't. It's not realistic, right? I guarantee you, 20,000 or more players log in to do some farming, upgrade their hideout. They enjoy doing those things, right? People enjoy playing Sims 4, right?
Yep.
But they like to play games like this also because it gives them that same feeling. Like you get that a little bit of adrenaline rush, but at the same time, you're doing something that you enjoy. Some people enjoy that. Like, I can't say that I enjoy that, but I'm not all those people either.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense because a lot of the loot that we find in game is like the only thing we really have are like quests, right? And if imagine you need like for Project Fireball, you need 4 meteor cores for that thing. After you finish that, you're not going to really get meteor cores ever again because you don't need them for like anything. Sure, you need them for some upgrades in your quarters and stuff, but you literally just don't need anything after you're done with the quests for that item because then that item's useless. So now I'm not going to loot that ever again. After I finish my quests, I literally don't loot anything because there's literally no point. There's no incentive to loot. The jobs that they give you, like there's one that's stash 20 polymetallic prefabricate. Who in their right mind is doing that? I don't even know if that's still in the game. I'm pretty sure it is, but they're just stupid jobs like that. There's one that's like kill 1 person at big site, like just none of the, and they're not even worth it. Like I was I had literally no scripts. I needed to make a drill. I had no scripts. I'm like, okay, let me do a job. It was what? It was like farm some. I don't even remember what it was, but it was so dumb. It was like, go farm something, and then it gives you like 30 scripts. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing this for 30 scripts. Like, there's nothing. It's not worth it. Just not worth it. To be
honest, I think scripts should be scrapped. I don't think it should be in the game. There's really no point for them. It's like, it's tedious. You need them to make a drill for some reason. Like, I don't get the point in scripts anymore. Mainly because of jobs. I get it. It gives you an incentive to go do extra quests, but like, the quests just aren't good. And like, the thing is, like, some of these quests, like you said, like sitting in dig site. Do you know how long it would take for me to go to dig site and sit in dig site to wait for a player?
No, I literally did it like a month ago. I sat there for, I'm not even, like, probably an hour just waiting because I wanted to honestly see how long it would take, and no one came, so I gave up. It's terrible because no one's gonna looting now.
Scripts are useless, and like, maybe like scripts should be, you know, acquired in a different way. If for some reason we need to have scripts, maybe keep the jobs because like they want to have the jobs or something. Because I know devs do like enjoy, like they do like to keep things that they made in the game at some point. Maybe they like jobs for some reason, right? Yeah. I mean, make to where you have unlimited levels of the faction then, right? Mm-hmm. That way you can keep leveling past 20, and every level you get like, you know, 300, 400 scripts for every level. Yeah. I mean, like, or something. Like, if you want to keep scripts, find different paths, I guess. Like, don't just keep it on jobs, because some of these jobs are just, I'm not, dude.
They're terrible.
Oh man, some of them are like, get like, what is it, like 3 gyroscopes or something like that, and I'm just like, okay, for one, we're talking about gyroscopes, which are a purple item in the game, which have a low drop chance, right? Well, they're kind of not so low this season, but they should be low. That gives me to another thing of loot value, bro. I'm telling you, it cycles so much. When you play Tarkov, things like lead X's and GPUs, you find them, you're like, oh my god, like I need to get out. Like, this thing is huge. This item is that big of a upgrade for you. Every time you see one, whether it's money or you're doing something in your stash, it's so huge that you're like, I have to go.
Why is it so huge? Because it's worth a lot and it's really rare.
Yeah, so like a GPU, like for example, a GPU is worth like 300k in the game, right? Okay. That's huge. One GPU is that. Or you can use it in your hideout to put a mining rig to farm Bitcoin. So it's either passive money or it's a big chunk up front, right? Yeah. It's a huge item in the game. There is not one piece of random loot in the game that gives you that feeling in this game.
Yeah, no, there isn't. There isn't.
Like, it doesn't exist. And that, to me, that's just kind of a bummer. Like
the master unit CPUs, like you find that, and it's pretty rare. Master unit CPUs are pretty rare. They're a purple item in the game. They look pretty cool. They seem pretty cool, and yet there's like a couple quests that are like, get one master unit CPU, or for an upgrade get a master unit CPU, and that's it. Then that's it. That's the end of the tunnel. You're never using it again. I find one, and it's worth nothing. It's worth like, what,
it's worth like 1,000.
Literally, it's worth nothing.
It's like a K. I'm just like, man, a purple item is worth 1,000 rubles. That doesn't even get me a bolty anymore. Exactly. Like,
and then on top of that, they made all the guns cheaper, which just kind of made I think they went the complete wrong way with that. I think they should have made the guns hella expensive, and then raise the price of everything you find in raid, so you can actually loot more. Like, if they made, like, imagine the Arbiter was like close to 800 something K, but they raised the price of like master unit CPUs sold for like 80K or something nuts, or like 200K, who knows? Like, so you would have to loot, be like, okay, if I find this, I make a lot more money. Just give some incentive instead of lowering everything, raise it. It's even like a mental trick. If you find something that's worth like 1,000 in comparison to something that's worth like 100,000, your brain's gonna be like, oh my god, even if it's the same 1-to-1 value, as if, you know, the price is the exact same, you know? Just make it more, just I don't know.
One of the biggest things about this game that I'm sure a lot of people notice too is that we always fight in the same areas, right? And we fight in the same areas mainly because there's no loot drive, right? Here's the thing. If we buff loot to be that way, fights happen everywhere now. We're going different places to loot. We run into fights. It's now a more organic fight. Right now, no fights are organic. Anybody that thinks that you go into a fight, that your fight is 100% organic, both teams are at a fair advantage. No, we're all running to the same spot. Yep. Everybody is going to the same spot, which makes third parties happen. People are looking to chase these down now because that's the value. people's kits are the highest value in the game, not by a little bit, not by a small or medium margin, by the largest margin. A kit is like 400k in this game. A kit is 400k in this game. Don't get me wrong, kits should be expensive, but me going around the map, I should be able to make triple that if I just looted.
Yeah, no, it's true. Because we're going to go for the thing that makes us the most money at the end of the day. And if the thing that makes us the most money is gear, I'm going to PvP for gear. Then I literally get more money from insurance. So I'm just going to use the PvP gear. And if I get more than I lose, then I just literally die the next day. Like I could literally bring like 10 kits, put them all on, insure them, jump off a cliff, and I'll just be rich.
If you went in jungle right now and you farmed focus crystals, right? And you had a 350 bag and you farmed to that thing was maxed with just focus crystals, I'm like 80% sure, I'd say, that your gear insurance is still worth more than that.
That's 100% facts. Because that's 100 from like the video. Because I make videos on like the best money farms and the best farms. Like I brought an exotic bag to Theris. I filled the whole thing with like pure Theris bone plates, and I made like probably, I think I made 300k, and that's just because I got a Savage Marauder head. If I didn't get that head, that's down to like 150k, and that's an exotic bag filled to the absolute brim on the best map in the game, and I'm making 150k.
That's
that's like terrible value.
Like there's no point. Like no matter how we look at it, the only thing that would be technically worth it for loot extract is if you solo drilled. That's it.
No, I agree.
If you trio drill, it's still not worth it. Trio drill, you get 100k per person.
Yeah.
If you split, and then your kit's still worth more.
Yep.
How is it that my gear insurance is worth more than the pinnacle in-game money in the game? How is that a thing? And don't get me started on dungeons. Dungeons is only worth it for one person, no matter what you do.
Yeah, solo dungeons actually are fairly good if the economy was balanced at all. But
exactly, yeah, like
I did 2 dungeons this morning and they were terrible.
Yeah, like you maybe get a drill or oil at the end, you get a cube, and you're like, oh, this is lit, hell yeah. But like that's for one person. A dungeon is for one person. Anybody that goes in their trio farming drills, you are wasting a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
You're spending more money to do it because you're buying a shit ton of stems and repairing your armor.
Yep.
Like, so like right now in the game, there is not one thing in this game that makes you money besides gear insurance.
Just dying. That's it.
Dying is the most profitable thing in the game.
Insurance, if they fixed insurance, it would fix a lot of the issues. I mean, there's still a lot of issues, but there's just the insurance factor is so bad. I don't think we realized how bad it was in season 1, because I don't know why. I think the beginning of season 2 completely threw off everything as well, because we had the Spinebriar thing where people were making tens of millions of K marks literally the first 2 weeks. People had Arbiter in 2 days from Spinebriars. People had rows and rows of exotics because they had the forge all to themselves, and it was even easier to forge when it just came out. It was so easy to forge. It was 1 ingot. It was so easy to forge. So then people had rows. The armor doesn't deteriorate. Don't take that away. Armor stays there. So the first piece of armor that was made in this wipe is still circulating in the game, unless they fell in the void or something. But that's really the only way that armor leaves the game, is if it falls in the void. So it all leads back to itself, you know?
I honestly am one of the biggest people that says I think armor, once repaired, should average out to a certain amount. Let's say like you have 400, I have 900 on Exo, right? When you repair it, it should be like 850, and it should keep going down the more you repair till it's gone.
Yep.
So your best outcome is to sell it and use a new piece. Because right now, even with gear insurance, we don't need a forge. We don't need to go buy weapons. All of our gear is circulating in this endless void, right? Like, we don't need anything. If you're down bad, tomorrow might be your up day where you just start getting the gear again. Like, there is no incentive to do anything in the game right now at all. And like, maybe for some devs, they might think that like, well, the lower players are doing this. The lower players are doing the same thing we're doing, right? It's just now they're using blue kits. They're doing it with blue kits instead, or advocates. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And people, and no offense to all the people, but a lot of people follow what us streamers do. Like, if we're running out and PvPing, they're gonna do the same thing because it's the most profitable thing to do in the game.
Yep.
Right? Like, we create a cycle of things. And in Tarkov, that doesn't happen, right? Everybody in Tarkov, even Landmark, is looting. killing bosses, doing this, grabbing this. This is valuable. I'm grabbing this over this weapon because this costs more than this guy's weapon I just killed. Like things are being like you're literally doing things, right?
Yeah.
It's just I don't know.
Every time I tune into it, like a Tarky stream, they always have like bags full of loot. They're always looting, even if it was end wipe. Like before Tarky even wiped, I went in like 2 weeks before, and I went into like Landmark stream, people like that, and they were all still looting. They've had like these golden roosters or whatever they're called, some bitcoins. Like there's always a reason to loot. There's never not a reason to not loot, because at the end of the day, looting is going to make you more than PvPing. And sure, PvPing is good because you can get like good weapons, good armor. You can get all this good stuff that it's obviously easier to get from PvP than to farm for it. But like just the loot value is just, there's so little incentive to do absolutely anything.
Yeah, like just literally
fixing.
I can't think of one thing whenever I get log on today. Like whenever I go play later on tonight, I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm going to PvP. PvP. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a PvP head. I want to PvP all the time. I want to fight any fight possible. That's just the way my mind works, right? But like, that should not be how the game is, right? This game is a extraction looter shooter. Like that's like what it is. We're not playing Apex Legends. This is not what this game is.
And like, into it, but
yeah, I mean, it's third party heaven, third party running around with Exos. It's literally what we do day in, day out. And that is why the player base dies. It gets boring.
Yep.
We're fighting in the same areas.
Are just dying full exo kids PvPing because that's all we have to do. There's nothing for the in-game players to do, so all the Timmies get it.
When was the last time you had a fight in jungle? Like a legit fight where you stumbled across the team in jungle. Now you chase a team in jungle that you stumbled across the team in jungle. It doesn't happen.
There's no. I never even go jungle unless I'm rotating my evac. Like if I'm getting chased, I don't go jungle ever.
There's zero POI interest in this game, and there's a slew of things that we could do that would make us want to go to other POIs. Like I've mentioned this countless times on stream to other people, like care package drops, like make items useful, have care package drops. You're like, oh my god, a care package drop that has high-end loot in it. It could be anything, right? Yeah. So like you're gonna go push for that no matter where it lands, and like that is making people move around the map. It's making the map be like moving. Dude, I'm telling you.
But that only works if the economy's balanced. Because imagine if we had care packages now and there's like an arbiter or something. We're not gonna go for that. Who cares? It's an arbiter. We have 75,000. It doesn't matter. Even if the other people, I mean, some people won't have them. Obviously, some people are going to go for them. But like, it all revolves around kind of the I feel like the top 1%, like the people that play every day, control a lot of what goes on. Just because if we have nothing to do, if we have nothing to grind, then we're just going to PvP, and there's going to be Timmies, there's going to be white kids, green kids, people that are new to the game that just die over and over. Then they complain. They go on Reddit. They write 17 paragraphs saying, "Why am I in the lobby of this guy?" And then it's because we have nothing to do. So we just go, we armor check them, shoot them once, they die because we arbored them in the head. And then it is what it is.
Okay, so I'm going to go on that right now because that's a big thing that I had in my doc that I had. Me and Callie, one of my friends, talked about it. And it was a very big idea. I don't think it's very, like, it's too hard to put into the game, to be honest. It's something they could probably do, like, for a season for sure. Yeah. Maybe not next season because maybe it'd take a little bit longer to make. But high roller lobbies in this game needs to be a thing. You need a certain gear score to get in. It could be on any map. You need a certain gear score, like purple or higher, across the board, right? And you got to go to a vendor that you ranked up properly with. Maybe have it be max rank with any vendor, right? Doesn't matter which vendor you choose. You can buy a ticket. It's maybe like 200k marks or something like that. And when you go into like the raid, you can choose it, right? In high roller lobbies, you pick it consumes the ticket, you go in, every mob is elite mob, all the loot is buffed like crazy, right? But everybody in there is geared. There's no grays, greens, blues running around. It's all geared people, right? But make it expensive to go in, but make it also worth it to go in. You're gonna leave with a lot of loot, you're gonna leave a lot of good things. And like that also goes into make loot valuable, obviously. So make like things like gyroscopes and master CPUs like worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Because all these ideas, they just won't work if we have the loot system we have now. Because if we had a whole lobby, imagine you pay 250k to get in, you wear your best stuff, you get in there, and then you're just gonna go PvP. Because again, there's nothing to loot. So again, it all revolves around the economy actually being fixed. Because the economy is, I feel like the economy was looked over. They're like, okay, you got to do stuff for quest. Okay, I'm not going to make it too pricey. I'm not going to make the sell value too high because I don't want to be overpowered. But again, you want some stuff to be kind of overpowered, like these master unit CPUs or something like that. Like you said, like the gyroscopes. So when we find these things, we want to get that that adrenaline rush, like holy shit, I just found this. I got to leave right now. I got to evac right now. But you don't get that feeling even with anything. Only if it's only for us, it's like if I get a karma, I'm like, okay, I'm getting out of here, right? But
you can make it, dude. You can make it so simple too. You can make it to where like if you get a master CPU or like maybe like 3 or 4 of them because they're kind of easy to find.
Yeah.
Or make them rare, right? Make them a little bit more rare to find. But let's say you grab it, you go to your hideout. Right, you can put it into your Kmart or Orem like generator, and for the next like 6 hours, it's gonna double the amount gained.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Like, so like these things like build up over time. Like,
yeah,
these things boost you. Like, there's just so many things that could happen with that, man. Like loot, it's. I mean, I'll be blunt about it. It sucks. Like loot is terrible. Like there's zero drive for it, zero incentive. Like I have no like, but like all this idea is like. Don't look over them. That's all I gotta say. If a dev is gonna watch this or is watching it now, you gotta look at this, man. Like I want to play the game and enjoy it in every form that it has to be, but we can't even do it right now.
It doesn't even matter what they add. Like they're gonna add like it was in like last episode we went over the season 2 and beyond thing that they uploaded in season 1, and it said what was gonna be in season 3, and they said like the howlers coming in, and we're getting like new tools of the trade and stuff, but. Sure, the howler is going to be cool. It's going to be awesome. But again, it's going to be the same type of thing. We're going to early wipe. We're going to do some of the quests. We're going to get bored of the quests. We're all going to be maxed out on everything. We're going to start PvPing. People are going to start dying. And then it goes back to the same thing because no one's looting. No one's going to Crescent to go to Pinnacle to go loot that because why would I ever? And no one goes Favela. I don't think I've been Favela to Favela in the last 3 months of wipe. I don't think I've been there. Like in Seoul, I don't even remember what it looks like. I don't even care.
I haven't been there since like day one. To be honest with you,
it's not even worth it. And in like closed beta, like I would go there because I thought loot was still worth it. I was still a newbie. I didn't know that nothing was worth anything, so I'd still go there. I'd go loot and be like, okay, this is nice. But again, like these fights don't happen organically. Like organic fights are so much fun. That's why people love early wipe because that's when the game feels somewhat balanced. Because if I kill a guy with a green bag and I look in his bag, he has all these items. I'm like, wait, I need this for a quest. I need this for a quest. I need this for a quest. But then that starts to lose its value over time. Like stuff has to start being more worth it. Like we've been saying for hours, you know.
Yeah, like that's all. Loot only matters for quests, and that shouldn't be the case. Like at all. Like man, like I'm telling you, if I kill somebody, but like as I'm running to my extract, like if I find something, I'm like, holy shit, like this item's kind of a big upgrade for me in this scenario, which down the road helps me out more than this guy's brute that I got. Right? Maybe I detach some of the 10% brute, try the brute on the ground, I grab that item. That item is more valuable to me for that given moment. I extract. I'm chilling, and like. You said Favela used to go there a lot. That's because Favela has, quote unquote, the best key card in the game right now because it has 2 weapon crates. But then again, why am I going to go there to get a scrapper?
No, literally. And then again, the best loot you're going to get from there is going to be a weapon or armor. There's no piece of loot that you're going to find that is worth anything of value. So that's why the weapon crates are the biggest. Like if I find a brute there, or if I find an arbiter or something, then it's literally worthless for me. Like there's that one, there's that one key on Core Live HQ that I've only known one person. I've seen one person have it, and that's Wildcat. I've seen 2 people have it. I have a guy called Wildcat and a guy called Wild Thing, right? And they've both had it, and it's the rarest key I've seen in my life. I've literally never found it myself. And if you go in there, the loot room looks huge. There's weapon crates. It looks sick, but you get nothing. I've seen 2 people have it in my whole life.
I've seen it one time also. But here's another thing. There's also a chance that the reason we've only found one of them is because nobody loots.
Yeah, that's also true.
Nobody loots. Like, when's the last time you're like, damn, let's go farm these 7 jackets to find a key card?
That's true. That's actually true.
We don't do that. Why don't we look in jackets for key cards? Because key cards do not matter. Anybody that thinks any key card matters has no clue what they're talking about. Key cards don't matter. Don't pick them up. It's a waste of stash space. It's a waste of pocket space. Just sell them. There's a chance that you go farm Favela every single crate and you only get scrappers.
Yep.
Key cards, The only way to buff keycards to make them worth it is to make the value of the keycard match the tier to a minimum of what the tier is. To a minimum.
Yeah.
For a purple keycard, every crate should have a purple weapon in it and have a chance to be Exa or higher.
Yeah.
Imagine you had like a less than 1% drop chance for a legendary weapon in a purple keycard room. You would look at it every time. Because imagine you go in there that one time and you get a karma.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be huge.
That'd be nuts. That would be nuts. But yeah. I just want to loot. I want to loot. Like, I'm a person that likes looting. I like the PvE side of the game. I like looting. I wish if dungeons were actually like good, I would do them so much more. Like, there's just so many things that this game could do so well. Like, this game could pop off if it did so many different things in a different way. Like, it's just so sad, but hopefully we go in the right direction. But like, it's just so sad the way that looting is right now. It's so upsetting.
Yeah, I feel like most of the things in place are like the stepping stones, right? Everything in the game can be used to make the game fun, right?
Yeah.
You have the loot there, you have this there, you have everything there. Just make it worth it. No, right now, like the stats and the money and the averages, none of it matches. None of it's worth it, right? Just, get, for one, completely destroy insurance. Like, you saw my list about insurance.
Yeah.
That is the only way to make insurance worth it in this game. There's no other way. Sadly, there's no other way, because like I said earlier, even if we get down to the part where like, oh, well, you're hiding your teammates' gear. Well, yeah, now we're getting to the point again to where, your team has to pick up your loot over the guys you killed loot, and now it's not worth it. Like, there's no other way to make insurance good besides that one way. You make it that way, insurance is fine for the rest of the game's lifespan, right? You never have to worry about it. It's good for solo players, because I had a solo player thing in there also. Like, across the board, insurance is worth it. Fix insurance first, and then fix loot value. Insurance just diminishes loot value. No matter what you do to loot value right now, insurance is over loot value.
Yeah.
So fix insurance, buff loot value, nerf some rates of things, because like, I think when we were questing, dude, I found so many gyroscopes this season. Like, so fast. I found
a lot more this season than last season. I agree with that.
It's way too forgiving. Like, the game is supposed to be hardcore, but not in a hardcore sense of like PvP. The reason why it feels hardcore PvP is because, like I said, we have nothing else to do.
Yep.
So if you nerf some drop rates, buff some prices, make these things feel like they last a long time. Dude, I flew through quests this season. You know why? Because I found everything I needed so fast.
Yeah.
So, like, dude, portable labs. You remember season 1, how hard those were to find?
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, I had like 3 stacks of them just in case I need to give them to a viewer.
Yep, they are.
I picked them up and I was like, if you need one, bro, just let me know. I'll just drop it and give it to you and dip out.
Because people complain that the game's too hard when it's the complete opposite. Like, it's supposed to be a hard game because the wipe's 4 months. Like, people shouldn't be done. Even the 24-hour, the people that play literally all day, every day, they shouldn't be done in 2 weeks with the entire game. Even we were done in about like, I don't know, like a week. Maybe maybe a week, 2 weeks. Like, it's
I was like 3 days in and I was like PvP time.
No, literally. I mean, Drax said in chat, you have to keep in mind the devs confirmed that this game is in the infant stage, but like the bones of the game, they're starting to add content here, add content there. But again, we just fixed MMR. Like, MMR is not even good yet. Like, there's just the basic stuff of the game that could make it so good as is, just aren't even solid yet. Like, the spawns, I feel, have been chalked for the past month, and that's
Bassi
not even been fixed.
Has been chalked.
Bassi, exactly. Bassi's
we're
been
waiting.
Busted.
Dude, so they used to do weekly updates, and then they're like, we're going bi-weekly updates, right? They're like, we're going weekly. Okay, we'll do bi-weekly. That way we can do a test phase. They said that, and once they said that, it's been 3 to 4 weeks per patch now. We have not had bi-weekly updates. Nothing has changed. Bassi's still dominant, right?
Yeah.
Like, the reason why you see us run Arbiter is because Arbiter is fun, not because it's good. Arbiter is not good, for one. We run Bassi over everything. Bassi is the dominant gun in this game. It has not been touched. It has not been fixed. Like, the game needs to update. We need to be changing certain mechanics so we get that perfect little balance. Right now,
I don't even remember. I think it was 2 weeks before the break. But 2 weeks before Christmas break, then they had their break, and now it's like 3 weeks after the break's over. So it's like a month and a half of no update. I'm probably exaggerating that a bit, but it's probably a month to a month and a half of no update.
Literally a purple pin for a 1-tap blue. RB is worse than Bolty. Yeah, RB needs to be buffed. Here's another thing. You want to make forging worth it? Here we go. Here's we talked about this last time. Me and Comedy did. Okay, RB purple pin should still one tap a default purple set.
Okay. I agree with that to an extent.
But here's the thing. You ready for this? But it wouldn't one tap a purple set that has either +3 armor or at least +5 max health on the helmet to make you want to forge other things besides just stem speed. Like, we're only crafting stem speed. You know why? And plus stem, because it's the one thing that matters in the game. Nothing else matters. But if increased armor mattered, guess what? You would craft that on purple set over certain stem things to survive RB shots.
But also right now it's probably easier to craft an exotic helmet than it is to forge something, because crafting like exotic helmets and purple shields is, I could literally do one run and have all the materials to craft 3 sets of purple armor, and I do one run on Crescent and I can literally craft a whole exotic kit. Like, we shouldn't be crafting the best kits in the game like so quickly, in my opinion. Like if they did that to the RB, right, they make it one shot the purple armor, it would make people be exactly like you said. They'd make them go forge, do this, do that, but again, forging is also another problem. We talked about it last time too. Like, I go to the forge, I can, it's so easy to forge that it just breaks everything. People go in there, the meta for forging is you wear a blue kit, you bring a brute, you go down there, you get all the supplies in one raid, you go down there, you forge, you get a kitted, an absolutely god tier, could be god tier, like purple kit, right? Then you walk out and you could die to a white armor kit in a corner with a PDW, and then you wasted an hour forging, and it just leads to so many problems. The forge is a good idea, but I just don't think it was implemented well at all, and again, it just leads to more issues at the end of the day. But I do agree with what you said about the RB having like to change.
It just feels like if we go forge, we're only going down the Respinebriar because we know we want the stem stuff, right? Yeah. And like, I feel like the only way to combat it is to make like things hurt to make you want to craft other things. Like, I'm telling you right now, man, if RB was want to be purple and I was going from blue to purple for a gag run at this point wipe, but like if it was early wipe and people had RBs, not early, I say mid wipe, and people had RBs, and exit was harder to craft, I would be putting certain things on my purple to make me survive RB shots, to be able to fight RBs. Yeah. Right now, it's just stem speed. I'm gonna put it on there. RB's gonna headshot me. I'm gonna be max health and 2 stems, and who cares? Yep. Who cares? Like, RB's not gonna one tap me. I'm not gonna be punished for it. The only thing that's gonna punish me is the Basilisk, and guess what's cheaper than the RB? The Basilisk.
Yep. And the Basilisk, you don't even need a purple pen, just blue pen.
No. Just blue pin, and then bop, he's gone. No matter what, he's just dead. Like, dude, it is mind blowing to me that it was even a change that happened. Like, as soon as I found out the RB got nerfed but Bassi got buffed, I was like, what kind of logic was that? If you nerf the RB, keep the Bassi the same. That way they're both in dominant field. But you nerf one thing and buff the other, guess what happens? One becomes stronger than the other again. Like, nothing gets changed. You just reverse the situation. That's all we did, was reverse the situation. Yeah. And now. And it's another thing with the brute. Some people are saying to nerf the brute recently, and I'm like, why? If we nerf the brute and we nerf the Bassi at the same time, do you know what we go back to? A core meta.
Yeah.
You can't keep nerfing and doing different things, different weapons so much. All you got to do is nerf one thing at a time, or buff one thing at a time, see how it affects the meta, and then go from there. That's all you gotta do.
We shouldn't even be rocking these guns every raid. The best guns in the game shouldn't be available. We shouldn't have rows of brutes and rows of RBs and rows of the best armor in the game. We just shouldn't have that. We should be saving our best armors, our best guns for doing those end game events. Like, okay, I'm gonna do a drill because I need Ledium for something, right? I'm gonna wear my best armor, I'm gonna wear my best gear to do this end game objective. I don't think we should be using this stuff every raid. I think it just takes the fun out of it, where there's only 5 guns for us to really use because there's 5 exotic guns. Scrap the hammer because no one's going to use that at the end of the wipe. So you got 4 guns to choose from. Even though the hammer's kind of goated, but like, you're not going to choose a hammer over a brute, or you're just not. Even though the hammer is actually a really good gun, but we're just not going to use that. But again,
okay, do you want to get into some hammer talk real quick? There's a way to make the hammer good, to make it actually good.
I think it can be good, but we're just not going to choose it over the brute.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's the exact thing. We're not going to choose it over one thing. It's an exo gun. It should feel like an exo gun. If you let it have it, at least a red dot or something, and then give it a default passive of quick draw. Do you know what I would run every single day if it had a default passive of quick draw? I would run RB hammer every day. It'd be my only combo I use.
Yeah.
I would use it 24/7.
Yeah.
If I was able to body somebody or headshot somebody with an arbiter, and then do a fast swap to a hammer, I would use it all the time.
That'd be sick.
And that's actually a playstyle I enjoy in most games. Is that, like, for example, Destiny, a hand cannon sniper. That's what I use. But like, it doesn't exist. Like, hammer is completely useless because in high end exo PvP, I'm never gonna use it. It's brute only.
Especially in this meta, no chance. We're in a sniper meta where we just camp little spots, wait to get a 2-tap of the Bassi, and then we can maybe push. If we don't get Bassied from Lake House when we're fighting at ECP, then we got to go rotate through the field. We get Bassied from uplink. Like, it's just such a boring meta because people just wait, they sit, they use their snipers. It's just so boring.
Rotate snipe. Literally. Oh, we didn't get a pick yet. Rotate snipes, we get a pick. Rotate snipe, and it's rinse repeat over and over again.
Yep,
Don't get me wrong, that's a playstyle that is gonna forever be in the game. But the thing is that there's no way to combat it right now. Like, some people will say smokes, but they just smoke in return and back up even more.
Yeah.
So like, there's really no way to counter it right now. There should be a way to counter it. I can't think of off the top of my head how to counter it, but like, we're never gonna leave that meta like that. We'll leave that meta, but we'll never leave that play style, if you get what I'm saying. The play style will still be on some squads' heads, like, just go for a pick with snipers, rotate until we get one.
Yeah, but again, if they separate, this all kind of just goes back to loot, because again, if we're separated and there's people at jungle, there's people at water facility, there's people at waterfall labs. Like, if we just separate people, then people just won't camp the same spots, because we know where to camp now. Like, everyone camps Lake House because, you know, there's like 4 spawns from Woodcutter to Lagoon. There's like 4 to 5 spawns between there. Then you get a couple spawn. You get to spawn jungle. So if someone spawns jungle, you can sprint there pretty quickly. You get some spawns at behind Woodcutter. You can sprint there almost pretty quickly. So it's just like, it's the same thing.
No, yeah, I 100% agree. And like earlier you said, like, we shouldn't be having rows of exos. I think in the current stage of wipe, because we're like, what, 20-ish days away from wipe right now?
Yeah.
Like, in the current stage, yes, we probably should be here. But the thing is, well, people probably in chat don't realize either, is that we were here 3 months ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's just,
like, think about that. We were in the same state we are right now 3 months ago. We shouldn't have been in this state. We should have finally hit this state a month ago. Is the thing. Maybe a month ago is when we should have hit this current state of game we're in. We should not have Arby's in the first month at all. Nobody should have Arby's unlocked in the first month at all. Shouldn't be a thing. It should be that rare of a gun, right? We should be running blues and greens and maybe purple if you're super lucky and you craft it. Maybe purple's in the first month, you're right. But like, we shouldn't be having exos. We shouldn't be having forged exos that are just insanely kitted. We shouldn't have any of that. It should feel rare for at least a month or two.
Yeah, and but the armor is also so, like, there's no quest lock on armors, so you can literally craft. Purple is the easiest thing to craft. It's one bone plate and 4 radio for a helmet, and it's nearly the same for the chest. Like, it's absurdly easy, and I feel like people don't even know that. People are like, I'm getting killed by exos. Go comms tower, 1 raid, and then go to jungle. You can craft like 2 kits. Like,
just go to Theris. Go to Theris, kill 3 Jeffs, and then there's smart mesh everywhere, and bam, there's your chest piece. Literally, I got like 10 smart mesh in 1 run on Theris. Like, you could get so much stuff just from the maps alone. And that's another thing, because loot is buffed, but loot is not valuable. Loot is valuable in that scenario to a little extent, because it's just the same items over and over again. If you want to talk value, smart mesh is the highest value in the game. It's drills and it's purple armor. That's the highest value item in the game, right? 10 mesh from 1 run. Yes, I got 10 mesh from 1 run. I have a whole clip on it. You
go on Theris and you run above, dude, you can. Dude, it's nuts.
I found 4 in Core Live HQ. I went in Core Live HQ, there was 4.
I remember last season, I could barely get smart mesh last season. Because again, Theris wasn't a thing, so it was obviously much harder. So I would just go to the back of like Crash Chip or whatever it's called in jungle. And I would go through there and do that run. But again, Theris is just so insane that Theris screwed a lot of the game up too. So I mean, that also.
I think it did. I think they messed up with it a little bit. I think it got too easy, because you can go in there with a gray kit bulldog and come out and just be on top.
No, yeah, it's
Theris should be locked to blue armor minimum. I think you should have to go into Theris and you have to have a gear score, right? There are elite mobs everywhere. There's elite mobs everywhere, and you're telling me that you're gonna go in there with a bulldog and gray armor.
It also should be a harder map. Like there should be only Savage Jeffs and like the Savage Striders or whatever they're called, the Heavy Striders, Heavy Rattlers. Like if you just go like in Corlev or like when you're going to Corlev HQ, like there's just a normal Jeff there. There's normal Jeffs up top. And the deeper you go, the harder it gets. But it should just be hard everywhere. Like if you were a white kit, you should be punished, because if you get hit by like one of those Jeffs, you're gonna get hit hard, you know? Like there's just no punishment from wearing a white kit. Like what's the punishment? You're gonna go in the darkest corner, because there's dark corners literally everywhere. You're gonna sit with a PDW, or just camp the cable room, because you know they're gonna come out of the cable room, because there's only one way in and one way out. So
all you need is a bulldog. All you need is a bulldog. Do you know how many times I proved my point at the beginning of the wipe?
Yeah.
You saw my inventory. I had stacks of Exo my first week, but I proved my point. Everybody was like, Ferris is too hard. People are too kitted. I went down there with a white armor bulldog, and I killed an entire team of 3 by myself with a white kit bulldog.
Yep. And
they all had Exos and purples, and then it was just like, oh look, I'm completely juiced for 0 repercussion on my end. If I died, it did not matter.
Nope, because your kit was what, like 10k maybe?
Yeah, maybe like 10k, probably less. Nothing. Bulldog is like Bulldog's only like 3k, and then like the armor was like 1,000 a piece. The thing is that you shouldn't be able to go to Theris with white kits. It should feel challenging for the amount of loot that's in there. Don't change the loot in Theris, because Theris is supposed to feel hardcore, but guess what? It's not hardcore if you're able to go in there with a white kit bulldog. It's not hardcore.
Yep.
You're gonna get ran through. Some people go in there with just like their knife, just because they know they're gonna get loot and get out.
Yep.
Like the extractions are close, so it's easy to get in and get out. It shouldn't feel that way. You should have to go in there with a little bit of your kit.
I also don't think that on Theris, one thing that I've been saying for a while is I think the Forge, like armor is already so easy to get, like, and they can't really control how people get armor now, because since you can upgrade your armor in the Forge, I feel like it just throws everything off, because you can upgrade your armor so easily. And I think that the Forge should only be able to put perks on armor. Like if you go down there with a purple kit, you bring in like your Spine Briar, bring whatever, I think you should only be able to put perks on that armor. You shouldn't be able to go in with the blue and upgrade at the purple, maybe just for like the bags or something, but it just throws everything off, because you can't control how people get armor. Like if you couldn't upgrade your armor in the Forge, you could control the recipe for actually crafting the armor. Then you can kind of control how people made armor. So like you could control the recipe in the crafting station. Like for purple armor, it has to be significantly harder, because purple armor is what, the 3rd best armor in the game, probably 2nd, because legendaries, you never see it. You barely see that thing. So it's just.
Did you hear about that stream I did for legendary armor?
What?
We forged for 12 hours. 12 hours nonstop. Never died, never got contested. We only forged for literally 12 hours. We forged straight. So every time the storm was up, we had stuff in there, no matter what, for 12 hours. Every storm that ever happened that day, we had stuff in the Forge. And we did ingots 24/7. Guess how many legendary ingots I got in 12 hours?
Probably barely any, did.
2.
So bad.
And you know when I got them? At the 11-hour mark, I got 2 at once. That was it.
It's so bad.
You want people to run legendary gear? Make it more accessible. I had a whole theory behind it, like to make it actually like where you can get it guaranteed. And it should be guaranteed. It's as simple as Thermatic cores with blue iron makes purple. Correct? That's how it's been going. Right? And then if you have purple pure Theris iron and you forged it with oil, bam, that's Exo. And then Lydium with Theris iron should make legendary.
Yeah, there's so many routes they could have gone with it, and they went just. It's just not good, man. It's just the worst route possible. Like it just screws up everything, and the fact that armor doesn't even deteriorate back to that point, like it doesn't even.
It needs to deteriorate.
And the guns as well. I think the guns maybe should deteriorate. I don't know, but it's just nothing makes sense that they did, because they made all the guns cheaper. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. It just nothing they did made sense to me. And I'm not shitting on the game, but because I want the game to succeed, right? But like, they made the game so easy that it just made no incentive for anything. Like
I feel like they try to make it casual friendly when nobody wants it casual friendly.
Yeah, like 400,000 people don't play Tarkov on wipe because it's casual friendly.
No, they play because the adrenaline you get, the rush. It's a rush feeling. We play this game for the rush. Yep. The only time I get a rush in this game right now is when a karma shoots at me.
Yep.
And that's like once a week, maybe.
Yep.
If that.
Yeah. And it's like not even like it's a rush, but it's not like Like it's obviously it's the biggest rush you're gonna get in the game. That's it. It's the biggest rush you're gonna get. You have nothing else. Nothing.
All right. Well, on top of like earlier we were talking about like hordes of weapons and stuff. Like we have hordes of weapons, hordes of armor. Do you run into stash space problems?
Yeah, but you know, I mean, I've had this one idea for stash space. I mean, we all want crates, right? We've talked about this forever. Like Tarkov has the crates for stash space where you can get a crate. Like I made a whole image on like, I edited an image where it said, if you can buy that, you can craft this crate with, blah, 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 like 20 crusher flesh, some head or something. And it costs like 1 million K marks to buy. But then people shot the idea down because Tarkov has a grid-based system, right, for their stash base, and we have like a single box system, so it would be harder to implement the crates. But when you have a weapon, right, you middle click the weapon, there's slots for your attachments, right? They could just, I'm thinking you could easily convert that into an item where you can slot stuff into that item for more storage space, you know?
Yep. I have the same idea too. Yeah,
so
I think that's a thing. It should be a thing. For one, right now, one of our motives is if we run out of brutes, right, and we have attachments, we looted that raid, what do? We buy a PDW to put attachments on it, to hold for our next brute. Like, just give us like an attachment box. Let me put my attachments in one designated area. I can put them all there, not all of them. Like, they should have a limit, obviously, but you need more or want more. But like, you can put your heals in an area. I'm tired of going to a vendor to have to buy stems. Let me just buy like 100 of them in that day.
I'll
put them in a box.
So much easier.
I don't have to run to a vendor. It's
so
in my stash.
Easier.
I'll just grab it from there. I have a nade case. I can put nades in it, smoke nades, gas nades. I don't even loot nades anymore because I don't have stash space to put a nade in there anymore.
Yeah.
So I just leave it on my character's inventory. I would grab every nade I see if I had a case for it. Like, give me cases for things to put things in to free up room. Give me a key card case. There's so many key cards in the game. They're all useless, but if they become useful, I don't have stash space for it right now.
They all take up one slot. How does that make any sense?
Like, give me a wallet
and a tiny little thing that take up the same amount of room.
Yep. Like if I had a wallet, just throw some key cards in there, chilling.
Literally.
It's everything has a simple outlook, and the simple outlook for that is not to up stash space. Do not up it. That is never the answer. You're gonna run out of our server room eventually because it's all server based. Stash is server based. Eventually, you run out of permanent room. That's the thing. You get too many slots.
Yeah.
Right. So the only way to really do it, technically, is to give crates, which is what Tarkov did originally. They even said the same thing. They can't up the stash code because it doesn't work for players, but they can up what each slot can contain.
Yeah.
So you do the same thing with this game. That's why it worked in Tarkov. They had a whole thing about that. That's why cases worked in Tarkov.
How do you in like I didn't play much Tarkov at all. For these cases, right? Like I see people with like a ton of cases. How do you get them in Tarkov? Do you buy them? Do you have quests for them?
So quests for them, you can upgrade factions to be able to purchase them or trade for them at these factions.
Okay.
And or you can loot a key card room and find one. Then again, hey, look, making key cards useful in this game. Imagine you walked into a key card room and bam, there's a weapon crate there for you. Grab that, dip out with it, put it in your stash. You can put some weapons in there now.
Yeah, that's lit. That's awesome. Yeah, that's sick. It would make it so much easier just for us as well, because again, like we can't even sell stuff from the bag, so we're forced to put stuff in our stash. So I play with Cash a lot, right? And he literally fills his bag up with stuff. Then every time we load into a raid, he just drops shit on the floor because he's not trying to sell it. He's not trying to put it in his stash. That's what I do too. Like if I have a ton of stuff that I just don't want, I'll just load my bag up and just drop in a raid and just drop it before I even leave. Like it's just so many quality of life things that would make the game so much better just don't happen. And there's just no conversation about it either. Like we're trying to put a conversation out there so we can understand what's going to make the game better, what's going to make the game kind of pop off and do better. And sometimes you have to kind of follow in other games' footsteps because Tarkov's been a game for 18 years? We're a game for 7-8 months? Like we could learn a lot from Tarkov, even though they're in the same genre. We're not the same game, but we could learn a lot. We could learn a lot from what Tarkov did to learn, even though we're not Tarkov.
Yeah, like we could take ideas from Tarkov and spin them off. They don't have to be an exact replica of what Tarkov did. Nothing needs to be a replica of what Tarkov did. Yeah. But with some things they did were right. And like, we got to take note of that. Call of Duty is a prime example. It took notes from Halo. It took notes from Destiny. It took notes from things, added them to the game. Some things worked, some things didn't. They removed it. You know, you have to take ideas. Like we're in a, you're never gonna have something original. No matter what this game adds, it won't be original. Somebody has done it somewhere in a video game, right? So it's okay to outsource some ideas and spin them off and just start doing it. Weapon crates is a prime example. You have on here player levels, another prime example. Why don't we have player levels? Like there's an idea in this game that will make people want to play the game, not just for the loot, but for like the experience. Every raid matters. Player level makes every raid matter. Like things like this make every raid. Right now, nothing matters. We just go PvP.
Yep.
I'm like
if there was an incentive for a player level, like imagine you'd get XP for like doing certain tasks. You kill the Alpha Crusher, you get a certain amount of XP. You leave with say a certain, like you leave with one Ledium that gives you a certain amount of XP. So you'd probably try to get to the highest rank possible. So imagine the dungeon was like the greatest XP farming method. You have more people going to the dungeon. Imagine you had certain items that if you looted them, they would grant you a lot of XP, because we have an XP screen at the end of when we evac, there's a screen that says like what we earned, and you could easily say like how much XP you get out of that raid. Just like it's for me, it's
we already have it with the season pass.
Exactly.
Season pass would give you XP for things.
Exactly, and we have daily actions in the season pass that no one uses.
All right, so some people might not like this idea because like it's kind of from Tarkov in a way, but my idea for player level goes further than just the actual player level. I think we should have individual stats in the game, like strength, endurance, and all that. The more you run around, the more you do things, the more your character gets better that season at doing those things. Like if you run a lot, eventually you can run even more. You can run further, longer. You can jump without using so much stamina, right?
But I think that's one thing people don't like about Tarkov, because you can't start to have fun until you grind the game when you don't want to grind the game. You know, like you can't have true fun until you like max out strength. Like I'm not going to be able to hold my gun straight until I play the game without holding my guns. Like it's just I don't.
Oh no! I'm not basing it just off like Tarkov's insane. For one, Tarkov's is insane. All right, to get Tarkov, even you need to get max strength, right, to be the third nades further, to be to jump higher. You need to get max strength. I'm not saying to make it like insane like that. I'm saying make it like maybe a 10 level system. It doesn't need to be high. It just needs to be like a little bit to where things like proactively get better.
It doesn't even need to be like what Tarkov does. It doesn't even need to be like stamina. They could find some other things that you could work on every day to improve. Maybe not even your player, but it could be like improve your quarters or just something that doesn't really affect the player. Because the people that play 1 hour a day, they're not going to want to grind in the gym for strength. You know, they're not going to want to grind running around the map in circles. Like you could do stuff that won't affect them directly, but if you want to grind for it, you can grind for it, and it has some type of impact. You know. Like you could take the idea, like you're saying, take the idea from the game, but implement it in a different way.
Exactly. Like it doesn't have to be strength. It just has to be. It needs to be at least to an extent to where no matter what I'm doing that day, I feel like I progressed in some way.
Yeah.
Right. Because like sometimes you take negatives, like you take L's, like all of a sudden like you're down stash that day, but hey, at least this thing got leveled up a little bit. Hey, at least I did this a little bit. Like it doesn't have to be necessarily strength, endurance, and all that, and more running. It just needs to be something that you did do something that day by just playing the game that day, right?
Yeah. Because there's no unlimited, like there should be something that has some version of unlimited progression. So there's always something to do. Because like right now it's very limited progression. Like the quarters, like I have everything in the game done. Besides, I think I need like 10k more to max out my CoreLev faction. But that's like, I don't care for that because there's nothing I get. I literally have all my quarters upgraded max. Everything's done. All my quests are done. There's nothing I have left to do in the game. There's literally nothing. Like there has to be something of unlimited grindability that doesn't affect other people. This could be the player level, you know? You could have a player level that just never stops, but it's very hard to get up to the very high levels. And, you know, I just want to flex on people. Like when I kill someone, it's like, holy shit, a level 101 killed me. Oh my God. You know, I just want to flex. That's what we want to do. We just want to flex, you know?
That's what everybody wants to do. That's why we run these kits. That's why we run arbiters. Like it's all just like, you know, I did this in the game. I want to use this in the game. I want to showcase this in the game. Like I did something. Let me show off what I did, and like that gets people excited. All right. levels could help with MMR too. No, don't do that. Player level. Yeah, MMR currently in the game. All right, look. So this is another touchy topic. I don't think MMR should be in this game. I don't. I think it saturates the player pools. But I do think that high gear players should be separated from low gear players, which is why I earlier said high roller lobbies.
Yeah. That gives away without MMR.
Exactly. You know, for one, those guys, people that have those exo kits and all that are going to want to go there to begin with. It's more loot, it's more money, it's what they're going to want, right? They don't want to go there and kill. We don't want to go kill gray kits. We have literally zero reason to kill gray kits that are questing. It doesn't matter. I don't care for it. I don't want to do it, right? So like, you died to us. It's not our fault. You just wrong place, wrong time, right? That's the way it currently is. Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
If we have high roller lobbies, and like that's our idea is to go there, even if we go into a non-high roller lobby, what do you think we're going to that one lobby to do? To farm enough money to go buy a ticket to go to a high roller lobby, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't need MMR in this game. MMR saturates the player base. We run to the same names over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? Yep. So it's not fun. And then again, imagine you're low MMR, but then all of a sudden you have a low KD and you're like, all right, now I'm gonna run full legendary comrade. And then you're running over other low MMR KD ratios, right? There's zero fear. You have a low KD, so like your odds of winning all those fights are like 100% at that point because you're running a comrade at full legendary against some guy who has a 0.2, right? He ain't gonna be able to fight you. There's zero gear fear. Lose MMR, put high roller lobbies in. That fixes MMR issues. It fixes the new player issue. It fixes, the high exo kits versus gray armor kits. Because, like I said, we're not going to do that. And if we're going into a lower lobby to farm money, we're probably going to go in there with something less, like maybe like blue armor or purple armor, to go grab money, to dip out, to go back to a high roller lobby to run our exos and stuff. Right? That would be the loop that happens, right? But it doesn't exist in the game yet. So MMR does exist, but if they add high roller lobbies, you have to remove MMR. MMR does not belong in a game like this. No matter what anybody says, MMR does not belong.
I think MMR / it's basically SBMM, skill-based matchmaking. It just ruins every game. That's why I stopped playing COD, because every game that I was put in, I was sweating so hard that it's just like sometimes you just kind of want to vibe, you just kind of want to chill, and maybe the lobbies are mixed. You won't know what you're going to get into. Maybe it's in a situation where you find a kid that's playing his first week of the game, and then you run into someone else that has 2,000 hours in the game. Like, you want to have some sort of mix. You don't want to know what you're going to find, like, because right now you know exactly who you're going to run into at almost all times. At least I do. I know every person that I run into, or a majority of them, are going to be very, very good players. And maybe again, it's going to be that Timmy that you always get, but MMR just ruins it. Like you said, it just takes all the fun out of it.
So Navi just said in chat, well, I haven't had any MMR issues since last MMR update. Even though the pros have to face the same people over and over again, it protects the majority of the player base from them. Okay, that is not what this game is supposed to be. The devs have said that. The devs have literally said in the last podcast, Rumble said it himself. He said something along the lines of, this game is supposed to have like a what was the word? It's on the lines of like, you're supposed to like have a fear of losing, like it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And it should happen often. You should run into like a Giga Chad occasionally and be like, oh shit, right? That should be the fear of the game. But right now, you do not, in a low MMR bracket or mid MMR bracket, you do not have that fear. It doesn't exist. You know why? Because everybody's in the same playing field as you. So you don't run into the Giga Chads. You have no chance. If the player pool is open, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a percentage basis, man. Like, there's like maybe 5% of us that are Giga Chads, right? In the community currently, because the community is small. So 5% is a pretty large number, but it's also a very small number of people compared to the community, right? Yeah. What are the odds of you still running into a Giga Chad in a non-MMR with every player still in the pool? It's very slim, but it should happen. Yeah. That's the thing. In a game like this, it should happen. Yeah. And I said this prime example. And I'm not everybody. I can't speak for everybody. But whenever I first play a game and I see somebody that has put time into the game, he did this, he did that, and he's running around and he kills me with it, I'm like, shit, I want to get like that. I want that gear. Yeah. I'm gonna farm for that. I gave him a taste, or he gave me a taste of what the end game feels like in this game, what you can run around with. I want that. I'm gonna grind harder. right? Half these people are running around with mana cores, fighting mana cores, and they're like, what am I gonna do? Like, what do these other guns feel like? Or like, they don't get come up kits. Like, dude, in OG beta, I ran around when I first started playing. I ran around with a mana core. I killed a brute kid, a Goron kid. I got these come up kits, right? And I was running around with like gray ARs and mana cores. I made these come up runs, right? And you gotta remember, back in closed beta, it was 1v3s all over the place. So like, I'm sitting there 1v3ing people with purple kits. It is 1000% possible. If anybody says it's not possible to do that, you're mistaken. The game is easy now. The game is very easy. Dude, like there's no gear fear in this game. There should be no fear right now. The only fear that you should have is that if you're a high roller player, but we don't have fear at this point. We're fighting the same people. We know how to fight. It's just the same thing repeatedly.
You should have so much anxiety that you're like, if you wear a full exotic kit, you should be anxious the whole time. You should be like, okay, this is the best gear in the game. I don't want to lose this. I want to use it as much as I can. I want to get the most out of it that I can. And right now, we literally use it every single raid because it has no value. It's the best money making method in the game. Like, it throws everything off. It's really.
Hey, well, Navi just said, well, if there's no protection for newer players, then we're all going to see the same player every lobby because no one will be playing. No, that's not true, because Tarkov has no space matchmaking and it has an insane player count.
Yeah, because I mean, there has to be, like, if someone joins the game and they're brand new to the game, they've never played before, they should have like a 10 or 15. They should have the tutorial, then they have like a 10 to 15 raid baby lobbies, and then after that, you're in the mix. You know?
Okay,
you're in the mix.
Okay, what people aren't realizing in chat right now, let me explain it one more time. The reason why we shouldn't have MMR is if not right now in the current state, MMR needs to be in the game right now. In the current state, MMR needs to be in the game, right? If we have a situation like high roller lobbies, which I explained earlier, if we have a situation like that, we need no MMR. Because if you're in low MMR KD and then you go into a high roller lobby, you're not risking anything. The chance of even having other players in there are probably low in the current state of the game. It's just free loot for you. If you go into a high roller lobby, you should have every player in that lobby, no matter what. It doesn't care. I don't care about their skill level. I don't care about any of that. And if you go, well, I can't compete against that, get better. Well, what do we mean to say to you? Like,
there's always going to be someone better than you. You know, there's always going to be someone better. It doesn't matter.
This game isn't about handouts. I hate to be that guy, but this game isn't handouts. We're not trying to give you things. This isn't for you. This isn't for you. Blah blah blah. If you want handouts, go watch the streamer and he'll do a giveaway for you. Like.
It's a hard genre of game. If you die, you lose everything. Everything's gone. So the games, I mean, it doesn't make sense that when people say that at all, because again, just leading back to other games in the genre, like, how come the hardest game in this genre, which is Tarkov, where you can die in one bullet from God knows where, you can die instantaneously, has the highest player count in this looter shooter genre out of all the games. It's not because it's easier. It's not because there's MMR. It's because they have the complete opposite. It's this game is doing a lot of stuff completely opposite of what that game is doing, and it's throwing everything off. Like, we don't need like right now, sure, MMR is needed, but we don't need MMR. We needed the game to be harder, more of a grind. It's not grindy enough. It's there's so many things that could be fixed. Guns should feel stronger.
Like, I don't think a lot of people realize, like, what kills the game right now currently is obviously loot, but MMR is not good for the game. If you think MMR is good for the game, you're like 1% of the community. Like, I hate to be that guy, but like, you don't understand how bad MMR affects this game. Like I said, high-end players do not want to kill gray kids. But sometimes these gray kids want to find that fight. They want to try to kill, a kidded team. They want the come up. The come up is like, it's an adrenaline rush. You're like, holy shit, we just killed these extra kids. Like, we have this inventory. We want to get out with it, right?
Yep.
That is actually bringing more loot value to those people.
Yep. Yeah.
It's only beneficial for new players. Exactly. But the thing is, this game also has a literal mechanic in it that protects new players from insane lobbies.
Yeah,
already.
No, literally, there's a baby bucket. There's a bucket for literally brand new players, and after that, you got to be tossed into the mix because you have to be. It's a part of the game. It's a part of the genre. That's what makes it fun.
And in the current situation, if those new players are actually screwed by MMR. I don't think anybody realizes this. Everybody says, "Oh, it protects new players." It does not protect new players. The baby MMR bucket, you barely run into players. If you do, you might increase your KD by 4.0, and then guess where you're at after your baby bucket? You're in high roller lobbies. You're in RMMR brackets because your KD is high. Congratulations, you're now getting screwed by complete insane kids.
Yep.
Like welcome to the big buckets. You're at 4.0 KD because you just started the game. KD MMR doesn't work. Loot value doesn't work because you can accidentally farm too much. Like MMR does not work in a game like this because it will never fluctuate properly.
Mm-hmm.
It won't.
Because if you're in the baby bucket, you kill everyone, then you go up to the big boy lobbies, then you die, you're back to the bottom, and it's just not good for the game. I mean, I get it in this point in time when the game is doing not the best. I get it is end wipe, so there's going to be a lower player count, and you know, a lot of these issues do have some, you know, relevance to player count, because the player count is so low that we're going to see the same people over and over again, because there's like 4 or 5 different servers, there's 3 different maps, there's 3 different buckets. You're already split to like maybe 50 to 100 people. That's being generous.
I think there's only 2 buckets. I think there's 2 buckets. I think there's high and low. I don't think there's a middle. There's a high and low MMR.
But still, there's different servers. There's 4 different servers.
Yeah.
There's 3 different maps per server. So you're already down to so many players. Then buckets they just don't work. They just don't work in my opinion, but you know.
Yeah, Thunder just said himself. He's in low MMR and he has 0 risk. There's no danger.
Yeah.
He runs in it maybe like that's the thing. Like you don't get to experience the actual game you're playing because you're just like, I want to have a casual experience in a hardcore game. That's not realistic. You're not. This is not a game for you. Then like I hate to be that guy, but this is not supposed to be a casual experience. We're not playing My Little Pony Adventure 3. Like we're not.
Yeah.
Like we're supposed to be having a struggle time. Like everybody, even me. Like my struggle time right now is that I can't find fights because of the MMR.
Yeah.
Like MMR exists. I can't find fights. My lobbies are completely dead.
I mean, we have to go to different regions to find them.
Yeah, but if my lobbies are packed, even with gray armors, guess what? If those gray armors are like, yo, those guys are exos, there's a VoIP in the game. Those gray armors now team up with another gray armor and then overwhelm us. And then guess what? You have our loot. There's so many scenarios in the game that benefits players. Not just because you have a high kit. Use your brain a little bit. You can win these fights. You can do this. You can outsmart kids. Like, you can rat. And yes, some streamers call you rats, blah, blah, oh, you ratted us. Okay, us saying that you ratted us is never a negative term. Anybody that thinks that doesn't understand the term rat. Saying you got ratted, ratting is a strat, and it works sometimes. And guess what? If you do it, kudos on you, it worked, right? And if we call you a rat, we're not literally calling you a bad player. We're just saying that was a rat play. It worked. We rat occasionally. I'm sure Vasquez ratted occasionally. We've all ratted at least a couple times because it's a situation that worked in those scenarios. Like,
yeah. I mean, ratting is just a part of this genre. It is what it is. Ratting is going to be a thing, because if there's someone with high tier loot and you're in like white armors, there's no way you win that 1-to-1 gunfight. You're gonna have to get the jump on them. You're gonna have a lot of things work your way to actually win that gunfight. So it's just something that comes with the genre, and it is what it is. So if we say we're rat, it's not like I don't hate you, but it's how you played it, and it is what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
it's how you played it. Like you either W keyed, you ratted, you played passive. There's so many different scenarios. Here's the separation that might bring discussion to the table. Squad size is currently 3s. This is where everyone is running the very best meta. I ran solos yesterday, and it was the biggest snooze fest of my life, by the way. The moment you get into solo, everything gets a little worse of terms of kit quality. But if you get rid of the separation, how would that play out with the game? Get rid of the separation. You mean like 1v?
I think.
You talking about?
I think they. No, we're not. When we're saying get rid of MMR, I think there still should be like if you go in solo, you're going to run into solos. I think.
Agreed.
It's duos, trios. I hate playing Theras now because I literally, like, if I go in with a duo, like, and I find a fully kitted trio with full exos and I'm a fully kitted duo with full exos, I don't know. I just don't find it as fun. I mean, sure, I like fighting 2v3s this late and wipe because that's all there is to do, but I just don't think that should be a thing. But in Tarkov, that could work, but because you can one-tap people. But in this game, you need a lot of bullets to kill people, and that's just not going to work. So I think that should not be a thing. You should be, if you go solo, you're in solos, duos, trios, and that's that.
Yep, no MMR, just literally, base off squad.
Yeah, no, literally. I do have about 10 more minutes, so we want to talk about one more topic.
Is there what's topic you want to talk about?
I don't know. Let's see something from chat, maybe. Add more content to other maps, though. We shouldn't stay on Bright Sands low key right at the end of the season. I think Bright Sands is literally just it's the best map for the eye. It's the best built map in my opinion. I think Bright Sands just kind of it's the best map overall, so we just kind of go to it.
Easier to get the fights. That's why it's easier to get the fights. That's true.
Crescent's massive, so that's
if you go to Crescent, we're going to literally admin and we're waiting for spawns.
That's the meta, and I hated it. Did it bring
duos into solo lobbies? It should only happen when you're on an evac streak. Evac streaks or when you haven't died for 10 rounds. I don't think they should have anything like that. I think MMR should be erased, and I think you should be separated by buckets of players: solo, duo, trio. That's it.
It would be pretty cool. Crescent is boring now since there's nobody there. Just at 2 spots. There's dungeon and desert. Even like I had a dungeon counter the other day. Like I was gonna record a video that was like completing a dungeon with only ICAs, and we went to the dungeon. There was actually someone doing the dungeon, which I was shocked about. Right, it was utter shock because no one does the dungeons. And I go there and I counter it, and it's actually so much fun doing these little events. And like when you have PvP that's not in the same area every single fight, like the fights are actually really fun. They're rewarding, but it just I don't know. It all leads back to economy, incentives for actually doing stuff. And I mean, certain fights in Crescent are fun, but again, like, I don't know, because Theros is the smallest map technically in the game, and you could literally run to spawns in like under 30 seconds. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bright Sands is just goated. Today, I met a duo that was doing it for the first time, ended up helping them out. That's funny. That's good. See, that's why VoIP is so good in this game. It's a good interaction. But again, there's a lot of issues that this game could do significantly better, in my opinion. Best fights I've had in the game, yeah. These end game, like we were talking about it last time Stalker was here, there's still some stuff from the old game that they haven't introduced. Like you said, the supply drops. There's like a orbital repair service thing. Yeah, like an Osiris beacon falls from the sky, and you have to go there, repair it. Mobs come toward it. They try to kill you to get away from the repair, I guess. Then maybe it could give you some high-end loot, or yeah, drone repair, exactly. Like there's just so many things that all revolve back to the economy not being balanced. And if the economy was balanced, the game would be significantly better. But when there's no point to loot in a high-risk looter shooter, and right now it's only a shooter. There's no high risk. There's no looting. It's only shooting. So if this game kind of goes away and makes it harder, not really harder, just makes it more of a grindy game, it could be so much better. Like Bree played Destiny forever, and there's some exotics where you have to farm the same thing over and over and over and over and over again until you get that gun. And we do it because it's a grind, you know? We don't want stuff to be done on the first try or the second try. Like we grind stuff because we want to get that gun. We want to get like that god roll on the, oh my god, you got that gun, you got the god roll, holy crap. Like you get the gun and not get the god roll, you know? Like there's just so many things. You got to make a grind to it. And when they make stuff so easy that there's literally no grind to the game, it takes away all the fun.
I mean, yeah, like you're not wrong. Like I want to play the game. I want to get on the game and be like, I have so much I can do today. What do I want to do today? Like I get on and there's just no options. The only option is PvP right now.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like real quick before we end up ending, that also brings another thing to MMR. Reminder: if MMR stays in its current state, next season, if they buff loot, the rich get richer. Don't forget that. Because guess what? Our lobbies are dead. We're gonna get more money. That's all it's gonna be.
Yep. And if they don't fix insurance, the best money making method is going to be insurance. And again, it all relates back to the same problems we've been talking about all day. And it's back to the economy and how everything literally just it all revolves back to the economy being worth nothing, looting being worth nothing. Everything just is for quests. Like again, a portable lab is worth nothing except for a quest. Like everything is just related to quests, and it can't be like that. You should be looting throughout the whole entire wipe for money, you know, and it is what it is.
Start to finish until wipe events.
Exactly. Then wipe event when everything's cheaper. That's when you have fun. That's when you PvP. You don't care about anything because again, it's all going to be cheap, and that's when you have a lot of fun. But we're literally playing the end wipe event for the last 2 months. Not even kidding.
Pretty much. So our last 2 months have been an end wipe event.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Literally exactly what it's been. But if anyone has any kind of end questions that we could hit on. We do have to end here, but we had a very good conversation. We literally went over so many things that can make this game so much better. And again, I'll probably have Brian again because he has so many things to say about how to make the game better. And all the points he says are literally phenomenal. So hopefully the devs do listen to this. Hopefully some of the higher tiered people do kind of learn what we want. Because I think a majority of people in the chat agreed with so many things, and hopefully I do get the devs on a podcast here soon. That'd be sick. That'd be really awesome. Kind of hear what they have to say. You know what I mean? we have like a 4-way conversation. That'd be pretty sick. But thank you for Bree for joining me on this beautiful podcast. It was fun. We talked about a lot of the hard hitting points. And again, I'll have him back on. I'll upload this to the YouTube on Friday. But yeah, we're going to end here. It was a very fun podcast. I will do an interview with more people. I'll try to do a weekly podcast. But yeah, that was it for the Prospectors Podcast, episode 2. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It was a fun time. Thank you, Bree, for taking time out of your day. Kind of helped me with this, doing some fun times, and I appreciate it, man.
Sure. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. You too. Well, thank you, boys, for coming. It's this beautiful, phenomenal evening, boys. I really do appreciate it.